Welcome to the Enkindled Columbus podcast. You're listening to Cut and Run by Neverdawn. If you want to hear more from the band, check them out on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere else you stream music. As always, show us some love on social media at Enkindled Columbus, or if you're feeling extra generous, check out our Patreon. For as low as $2 a month, you can help support the local music scene and get your name mentioned on the podcast as a contributor. And now, our podcast with Neverdawn. Welcome to the Enkindled Columbus podcast. My name's Zach.
And this is Alonso, and today we're with Tristan from Neverdawn. What the hell is up, dude?
Just another, it's snowing like mad right now.
Yeah, it is. I wish the listeners could see this. It is a winter wonderland right now.
Out of nowhere. I mean, it was like dry as a desert, like barely hours ago.
Yeah, it's on 10 out there.
Which is always cool. I love driving in the snow.
Oh, I mean.
In my Volkswagen Golf.
See, I hate driving in the snow.
Oh, yeah, no, me too. That was.
I love looking at it. Like right now, it looks pretty as hell. I'd love it, but it looks peaceful almost. But then I'm going to go out there and be like, I hate this.
So let's dive into it.
Yeah.
What is Neverdawn?
I know, we're also missing some members today, too, right?
Yeah, I'm the only one here.
Yeah.
Well, we have a quarter of the members here. What is we're just like a more or less we like a heavy metal band that we're basically a bunch of geeks that decided, hey, we can all play music, so why don't we?
There we go. Yeah, that's a good way to get started.
Me and I guess like it kind of goes back to before Neverdawn. Is me and my now guitar player Griffin Chandler. Me and him started it, and obviously like me and him like back in the day, even in high school, we would play Yu-Gi-Oh together. Like we would just play all of that, and we had classes together. And then his brother Julian, we were playing. Do you guys remember Lair? Like
yes,
when that was
absolutely.
A thing?
Oh my god,
it was like LARPing.
Yeah, I was a part of that for the first probably 4 of them.
Oh, I was too. I loved it. And me and Julian were a part of that. And then I finally I had my drum kit back in the day. Was at my dad's in Kentucky, and now and then I brought it finally to Grove City to my mom's house where I lived. And I was like, well, I got the drums. Now I can start a band. And so I found out that Julian played bass. And then the day he was supposed to come, like, quote unquote, try out, he already had the job. I just needed a body.
Yeah, you just need somebody who can play.
But we decided on a couple songs. It was like Enter Sandman and like a couple other songs I don't remember. He on the day of, it was like half an hour to an hour before, he texted me. He's like, hey, can I bring my brother? He plays guitar, and he said he knows all the songs. I was like, who's your brother? It's like, it's Griffin Chandler. I was like, oh.
Like, wait, I know that guy.
Put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sure, bring him over. And then he picks up guitar and he just slays. And I'm like, well, I guess we kind of have to do this thing now.
All right. And shout out Griffin, dude. You are fucking really good at guitar.
I think, was it you or somebody was telling me like Guitar Club back in the day? He was
it
was like him and Nick Young were the ones like competing for like who was actually the best guitar player.
Dude, that's so to give some background info.
Oh, yeah.
Myself and Tristan here, we've known each other for since middle school.
Yeah,
something like that.
I think we were in like I was like 8th grade.
Yeah,
studies or something.
yeah. We go ways back here. So, but yes, back in high school we had a thing called Guitar Club, and that was back when I was still fat, and pretend I could play guitar, and I didn't really start until like junior year. But yes, Griffin, that's the guitar player Neverdawn now, is absolutely fantastic, and he was fantastic back in high school.
Yeah, dude, he was.
So I'm sure that helped progression through the start of the foundation of Neverdawn, because you already had you guys know how to play your instruments.
Well, yeah. So I've been playing drums for a couple years at the time, and so me and him had been playing our respective instruments for about the same amount of time. So we were like, as far as our own instruments, where we were on the same level, and then Julian was at the same level on bass. So it just helped. Like we all just hit it off immediately. It was like, wow, you're not a shitty guitar and bass player, and they're like, wow, he's not a shitty drummer.
And that's kind of hard to find, like in a high school band, like when you're trying
because like I mean, we had other members too that came in and out that were like yeah, I can sing or I can play guitar or I can whatever.
Yeah.
And, they show up and it's like, oh, you've been playing for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
absolutely.
not
I'm
that
ready
they
for a
should quit.
band, man. What do you mean?
Right, exactly. It's just like, well, like, we were trying to find something. It helped us three, at least. We were the core of that group, Immortal Coil, at the time. And
Wow, what a nostalgic name.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I don't even remember how the name came. I think my dad came up with it, to be honest. My dad was a big part of that band, actually.
Right.
But
moving forward, so
you
knew Griffin and stuff like that.
Yeah, we had that history. We built that connection, and then finally, when Immortal Coil had its time to die, it
Immortal Coil never
Good
dies.
riddance.
well,
No.
it was actually Griffin that really helped me pick up guitar in the first place, because I was picking up guitar while Coil was still around.
So is this when you were first learning guitar, like in general, or had you already dabbled a little bit before?
No, I had never picked it up. Like my grandpa got me a Brett Michael's signature acoustic
Oh, there you
guitar.
go. You're going to be 5 times better starting off on that.
Oh,
just
yeah.
Because,
What's Bret
the
Michaels?
legacy of Bret Michaels.
Exactly. And the first song I learned, go figure, was "Every Rose Has Its Thorn," and it was like my grandpa bought it for me at the music store. We went there for something completely different, something I'm sure for drums for me, and or I think it was just like, hey, you're a drummer and there's a music store in town. Let's just go there and just see what's up.
Yeah.
So we got there, and then he got me this guitar. I didn't even ask for it. It was just like, hey, I'm getting you this thing because you've got musical talent, and I'm just going to keep feeding you instruments. He's gotten me like 4 other instruments that are completely
Well, it's good that you have that
random.
support. You have somebody that
yeah.
cares about you and wants to push you to the next level.
So he got me that, and some dude who probably owned the store, I think at the time, taught me 2 chords. I was like, all right, off you go. And I went home and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I put it up and then didn't touch it again for a couple years. And then finally, it was 2015 probably. I was like, I really love the drumming thing, but I really just want to be. It was just the narcissist in me that I was like, I want to be out in front. I want to be seen. I want people to look at me and not look like, I don't want there to be this wall of stuff between me and the crowd. So then I was like, I'm going to learn how to play guitar. I was like, I already have an acoustic guitar, so I can sort of start. And then Griffin was like, well, I can teach you some stuff. So he taught me a little bit. And then from there, then I just learned everything on my own. And then Neverdawn started. And I was supposed to be the drummer for Neverdawn when it was RJ and Alonzo and Ryan were like, you guys had some kind of project thing, something you were trying to work on.
They were trying something, and I discovered that I don't like metal, and not
I didn't know what it was.
Not in the way of I like metal, but not me playing metal.
Right.
We
not the idea of playing.
Yeah.
We play indie on the total opposite side. We're probably a bunch of quote unquote pussies.
Dude, it's probably harder to play.
You like the quote unquote. Yeah, but yes, it wasn't a me thing.
Right. Because you guys all came over and RJ and Ryan. But it was already I think you had already told me this probably isn't going to be a me thing. I don't think I'm going to be a part of this thing. Yeah, because it was I think RJ and Ryan want to play something more metal, and not really into that. And I was like, all right,
yeah.
And the little, I had that tiny little light bulb in the back of my head going, maybe I cannot play drums because I expected to play drums, whatever it was, and then they came over and I was playing guitar, just so happened to be playing guitar. And they were like, hey, let's just, maybe we can make you a guitar player. And I just happened to be the best singer out of the 3 of us, so.
Well, there we go. Dream come true.
History was written, yeah.
That's what history ever since. Well, okay, so let's fast forward with Neverdawn. So you had that connection. I know Griffin jumped out.
Yes,
Griffin. He recently joined.
Yes.
You had that band in high school.
Yep.
What's working, let's say the time in between that to when, what's the first album called?
Just Business.
Just Business dropping, to the scene. How did the music you were creating through the years lead to that album? What have you learned going into it?
Since that album or up to that album?
Up to that album,
Up to
and
the-
then we'll dive past it.
Okay. Up to the album, I basically just learned all of my favorite songs, and that's how I developed as a guitar player.
Yeah.
I just learned a bunch of Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden
a
songs.
lot of galloping.
A lot of right
crunching.
hand movement.
Yeah.
So as I developed as a guitar player, the more I started to finally... I was playing guitar probably 4 hours a day. Easy.
Okay.
Every single day.
Yeah, so you're taking it serious at this point.
Yeah,
You're
and I
"This
was
is what
like,
I'm gonna do."
well, they made me the guitar player singer. I guess I got to be serious about it now.
Yeah, you got to live up to it.
So I started trying to sing more. I tried to practice a little bit of that, but it was mainly guitar that I really wanted to not suck at.
Yeah.
So I just played my ass off 4 hours a day every single day, and then it got to a point where I noticed that nothing was really being. The three of us at the time, it was just me, RJ, and Ryan at the time, and we wrote a little bit together, but it took forever for us to get anything really done. So I was like, well, maybe I should just start writing stuff myself, and then because I'm already going to know how the drums will go, because the drummer in me will already know. And then I'm also going to know how I can sing it because I'm the singer too. So it's more or less, I can just write it and they can just learn it.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario, they don't like it, we don't play it, whatever.
Yeah, you just kind of brainstorm together.
Well, a lot of stuff you probably want to get done. I think this with anything, you probably got to do it yourself. I think to a certain degree.
And it still sometimes is that way. Obviously now, there's more creative minds in it and there's more people that are on the same level, if not even more of a level than me.
Right. Maybe have a little bit, maybe care more. I would hate to. I don't want to use that word.
Well, no, because with the other guys, they found their priorities,
Sure.
and being a musician is definitely not for everybody.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Taking it serious.
Yeah,
there's a
doing it
difference
serious
between
and
just
really
jamming out.
The thing is, it's you should always have the heart, as if you're just you don't expect anything to come of it.
There's nothing wrong with wanting more than just
Right. But it was always RJ and I's kind of thought that it was we're going to do this because we love doing it, but man, wouldn't it be nice to be able to make a living off of it too?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so why shouldn't we at least try to?
Yeah.
So I started writing songs, eventually one after the other, and I just wrote about shit I was feeling at the time. It was just because I had a lot of stuff that was going on. It was 2016. I'm part of I was being pulled at a bunch of different ends, and in some ways I still am. But everybody's got so many things in life, and being a musician is one of those things where it either takes up none of your time or it takes up all of your time.
Yes.
And so
That's a good way
I can
to
attest to that.
Yeah.
it either takes up none of your time and you're just doing it for fun and you're just, it's just a cool thing. You're learning a couple songs, you're just playing every now and then. Or you're constantly you'll lay in bed at night and you're thinking, oh shit, I forgot to write this thing or record this thing.
Or you always feel like you could do more.
Yes.
I have
There's
that.
a fine
I
distinction
have a problem
between hobbyist and
Right.
making. I want to make this a
Professional
career.
almost. Yeah.
I
And
wanna do
even
this
with
for a
the,
living.
let's say, I don't even think the career, there's times, especially now, I think with the whole Enkindled thing starting, this was our way for us to support the scene that we want to be a part of.
Which is great.
Yeah, and also it builds something bigger than us, and it's also a way to network with other musicians and learn.
Of course.
We have met so many people, and I get like this, and it almost kind of depresses me where I'm like, man, they're doing so fucking awesome. They're so good. I'm like, why can't I be like that?
It is.
And then I don't want to, it makes me not want to practice.
It is
it's
really
weird. It's almost like the exact opposite of what you should do.
You almost demotivated yourself with it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've learned, I'm like, and it's interesting when you hear those guys talk about oh man, we played a show and we suck. And I'm like, you guys think you suck? I'm like, what do you mean? Well, so it's really cool when you hearing you talk about it, because I think a lot of people think that same way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with everything.
With guitar, I picked it up and for a couple of weeks, and I was like, well, this is kind of fun. And then I saw Griffin playing at practice one day, and I was like, wow, yeah, I'm just gonna stop while I'm ahead. I'm gonna save my time and just keep drumming for a while.
Right.
Then 2 years later, I picked it back up, and Griffin, not being Yingve or some kind of self-righteous
Yeah.
person. He was like, hey, if you want me to help you teach some stuff, because he's had like classical training.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
so
dude, and I can't. It sounds like we're just this is a
Dick
Griffin
sucking.
Chandler.
Yeah.
this is the Griffin Chandler podcast.
It's the same thing. And again, for those listening, like we're talking about these guys named Nick Young and Griffin Chandler. They're people.
Those two were the guitar players in our school.
Yes, and when you see what they both have done with it so
Yeah.
far, especially Nick, he's playing in the Ohio
yeah.
State band. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, exactly. He's played at like the halftime shows and stuff.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's crazy. Well, it's crazy where music can get you, and it's
Oh,
crazy what music can do to you and your thinking.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's like, but yes, it's just the point of it is you shouldn't give up, and
No,
and
you
if
really
you're
shouldn't.
really good at what you're doing and you have that time, you should always encourage someone to play their instrument.
The thing is too is that it takes a lot of people don't. Whenever somebody says like, "Oh yeah, you can get good, but it takes time," like, everybody doesn't think about how much time that actually is.
Yeah.
Because like when I first started playing guitar, it was, "Oh yeah, you're struggling now, but it takes time to get good." And I'm like, "Okay, well I put in like a couple months and I'm still sucking ass. Like when do I get good?"
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. People don't understand it takes
Griffin's
years.
like, "No, dude, I've been playing for years, and it took me probably a year to even get mediocre. It's just
Yeah.
So it just takes a lot of patience. You have to, and I know like people with certain mentalities that are more prone to like depression or like or just get sad easier or like people that are just prone to put themselves down, which is I'm one of those people. You have to really be careful to not compare yourself to other people.
Right.
Because like I literally play in a band with a guitar player that I think is the next Randy Rhoads. So it's like how do you even compete?
Well, yeah. Well, sometimes you just need that. You need that kick in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
To be like, okay, you know what? Like I've been playing for like 12 years now, but sometimes there are things that I'm like.
But I was taught a really good lesson not too long ago. That I was actually in the studio and my producer. I was tracking vocals, and I was trying to sing really well well out of my range.
Yeah.
I was trying to sing way too high. I wasn't comfortable. It was really like I could barely hit these notes, and I was straining, and it was like you could feel it. You could hear it as soon as he played it back. It was just like, yeah, that doesn't feel very strong. But he we had the conversation where it's like you know who your heroes are. For me, that's Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. He's like got these.
He has some chops.
There's these vocals that you don't see anywhere else.
No.
And so it's just who your heroes are, but you have to stop trying to be your heroes. You have to just sack up and be yourself.
Yeah. Let yourself be inspired, but
Yeah, exactly.
And I have a
yourself-
question later that's kind of about your like idolizing and stuff, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah. But yeah. I had to have that conversation, and it wasn't until because I knew I wasn't Dickinson. I knew I wasn't even Hetfield, even though on the first record it does very much sound like I'm going for that.
Sure.
Which actually is funny
some
because
degree,
that was
yeah.
the only real singing style that I knew I could do. So it was when we got into do that record, I was told like, we'll just do it.
just stick with the safe bet.
Yeah, exactly. It's a safe thing. Just go for the Hetfield thing. And I was like, all right. So I did. And looking back, obviously, hindsight's always 20/20. But I
love that. I've learned that.
Oh, it so much is. It so much is because I look back and I'm like, man, if I could do that album differently, I would. But I mean, it's not too. I always think it's weird because it's like bands always do that too, where it's, man, if I could go back and redo the first album, I would do that. Why not? Why not go back and do it then?
Right.
If you think it can be better, why not? Because it only improves, right?
Yeah.
Unless people are there. I mean, there's always going to be people that are like, man, the original was better. But
Yeah. Well, I guess my mindset is like, because I do the same thing. Like I look at stuff that I've done in the past and I'm like, man, there's sometimes now that I want to just like, I have the files. Let's just get in there and redo it. But it's
Right.
like, why waste the time on that when
you
I
can
know that I
create
can do
something-
better on something new?
Yeah.
So it's like,
and show
push
how people
forward.
you've
Good.
progressed.
You can spend.
Yeah, that's fair.
I could spend the rest of my life busting my ass trying to perfect a song I released a year ago. But why put that effort into that when I know that I can? Yeah, when I know that I can push the bar and take it to the next level.
That's a good mentality to have.
Right.
I never really thought about it.
It took me forever. It took me forever to get to that point because like I said, still I do that.
Right.
But
I think everybody does that with anything. It's not just music. Everybody looks back and goes, "Man, that was dumb."
Well, you're always going to look back, especially how many years has it been since that album released?
Count 2018, right?
Yeah. Well, yes. 2018.
So
February
obviously,
2018. So
You're coming up. Well, it hasn't.
It'll be 2 years.
Yeah.
President's Day.
Yeah.
President's Day 2018.
So you'll be in a different place. Even mindset wise, mentality wise,
Oh, yeah.
maturity wise.
Plus, if you look at it too, when did I say 2015? When I really kind of picked up the guitar, it was probably like the end of 2015 too. And that means I've only been playing guitar for almost 5 years. Mm-hmm. And when we started recording the album, we released it in February of 2018. But obviously, with the way making albums go, we probably started in the studio of sometime in early to mid 2017.
Yeah, and then even the songs written, prior to that.
Exactly.
So your headspace is going to be totally different.
Even when I found myself, even when I was recording these songs, that I was like, I would have done something different now than I would have back then, obviously, because that's how the song is.
Yeah.
But I can't remember where I was going with that.
Well, the important part is that
I started down. I was going to say something nice and inspiring, and then I was like, well, it's gone.
Well, but it's
Give up on your dream.
It's a good point, though, that even in the time that it took you to get to where you... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, yeah, like when... I found myself even within a year going, wow, I would have done that differently now if I would have wrote that song now. But then, and now here we are a few more years later after that with a new album, almost done, songs written within the last year or so. And, God, they're not even close to this. Well, I mean, I'm not going to try and say they're not even close to what they were before, but like, you can hear evolution.
That's exactly what I was about to ask. Would you say your sound has evolved in the time that you've... Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you hear different influences, too, because if you listen to Just Business, you really hear just me.
Yeah.
Because I wrote
you said
pretty
it was
much
mostly
every song.
just... Yeah, it was all your kind of brainchild.
Almost every single song, except maybe hints of a few here and there. I think, honestly, the only one that comes to mind that mostly wasn't me there was only one. It's called Freight Train, and that's Ryan Walsh actually wrote that song.
I was just about to. I remember Ryan. Ryan, if you're listening, shout out to you, bro. Love you, pal. I remember he mentioned something about that. Yeah.
He had that, and I think that's the only one that actually has his credit on it. And I remember when the album came out, and he got the CD. We sent it to him, and he opened it up and saw that like he was credited on that song for writing. And he was happy about it, and it kind of it brought a little joy to me. I was like, well, I mean, you did help,
you
right?
did it.
So it's like, you got it. So, but yeah, like every other song is me, and then you hear, and granted, a lot of the songs on the new one are me as well, but you hear where my headspace has changed, and because back then I was just being pulled in every direction, and I was very upset and angry with the world.
Get that teen angst.
Yeah, I mean...
Parents don't get you.
Well, actually, my parents actually at the time were way, way, way more supportive about the whole musician thing than most parents really are.
Yeah. No,
I got really lucky with that, actually. It's actually not until more recently that some of them have been more like, hey, maybe you should go to school. But no, they were actually really more supportive, and it was just a lot of stuff I was going on like that I had going on at the time. I mean... I was single for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, just bad relationships and bad times with, just had a lot of bad experiences with a lot of people that I thought were my friends and people that I thought I was close to. And then turned out that I was nothing to them.
Yeah.
So there's a good few of those songs that I kind of really like, you can hear that in there. And there's almost, there's a few that like I wrote out of spite of even certain situations or even some people that I knew. I know like No Love Lost is like literally my fuck you song to somebody who I won't name because I'm actually cool with them now. But But
They wrote they helped you write a hell of a song.
they really did. But like it was just a weird situation where I just felt like I was cheated out of something I really cared about. So it was
I mean, that's the life of a musician, though.
Yeah.
It's like you fuck over a musician, like there's probably a song about you somewhere.
well, I try not to be, and that's the only one where I finally broke down and was like, I got to write about this. I got to do something about this.
Well, I mean, that's it, dude. I think the whole point of music is like your creative output. Like,
Yeah.
How do you express? You mean like
but I have this whole like I got to be a bigger person thing.
Well, yeah, you don't want to be Taylor
Well,
Swift.
here's the thing.
You don't want to be the metal.
I think
Taylor
you're
not
being the
writing
bigger
breakup songs.
person by talking about how you feel instead of acting out of spite.
Yeah, that's fair. Because I mean, I guess my song was like in spite of them, but I don't look back at it that way now. I mean, I think I actually kind of laugh at it now because it's like I wrote that song because I was pissed off at this person, but now I'm not pissed off at that person. That person is in a whole nother completely different place in their lives, and so am I.
Yeah.
And like it just so happened to be at that time and place, we were just, what happened, and because we were different people at that time, we butt heads at that moment, and then things happened, and then fast forward a couple of years, and completely different people, completely different lives, and everything's
Well, I mean,
everything's
songs are snapshots. They're like I think about it like songs are almost like Polaroid pictures. It's like you take the picture, you create something physical, but it's just like that's a snapshot of that moment.
of that
Things
time,
could change
at that moment in time.
That's a really good way to put that.
That's why you can't.
like
that's
that.
why you can't. You can't keep people. You can't keep musicians in a mentality of, like, you can't keep thinking of Metallica like they're Kill 'Em All. Like,
they grow.
It's not 83 anymore.
Yeah, let's say, especially
they're
in 30, 40 years.
They're not partying every day, and they're 50 something years old. They've got kids, they've got families, they've got different priorities in life. They evolved. I always like people always everybody shits on like the everything after the Black Album and all that.
Saint Anger's the best album. What do you mean?
Dude, you know what's funny? I was actually in the studio the other day, and I had my snare tuned all weird. I was like, sweet
like
new Saint Anger.
like a trash can lid.
Yeah, exactly. Ping, 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 ping. It was actually getting a lot of.
We could have a whole
ring
other
out of it.
episode about that. I think. Oh, I do have a.
You know
question.
what though?
Yeah.
I will before I go any deeper on that. Just to put it in there, my most listened to, if I'm being completely honest, my most listened to Metallica album is probably Load.
Okay.
I know, it's so weird, completely out of character for me. It's not my favorite.
My favorite's Ride the Lightning.
I love Ride the Lightning.
Yeah.
Ride the Lightning, Master Puppets, and Justice for All.
I was
going
going
to
to say, Justice for All.
Yeah.
And Justice for All might be my favorite. Troy hates when I say that because there's no bass in that album, but
It's all right.
it's just good. I don't know. They were just. At
You don't
their-
make the rules.
They were at they were at their musical prime, I think, or at least technicality wise. Like it wasn't about making it really. It wasn't about how much money can we make. It was just how much can we evolve as musicians, or how much harder can we make our music?
Yeah.
How much harder can we make people later covering this? How harder
fast can we play this?
Right.
Yeah.
Just like you hear songs like Blackened, it's just like anybody. I mean, when I first tried to cover it, I looked at it and was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to For Whom the Bell Tolls. How about that?
Sure.
I'm just gonna, but then, I mean, obviously, with time it comes easier. But like,
Right.
even still now, I still look at that album. I listen to it. I'm like, God damn, like the chops on both of the guitar players. James is just flying, and just how much they've evolved in that. Those, I think that album came out in 86 or 88, 88, I think. So in 5 years, they had Kill 'Em All through and Justice for All. From Kill 'Em All to that, it was 5 years, and that's how much he had evolved. So I'm hoping I can somewhat get on that same level.
Yeah,
I got some ways
Well, I
to
mean,
go.
that's how it goes.
This is Tristan from Neverdawn's performance of Drifter, presented by Craft and Vinyl.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Tristan Woodruff from Neverdawn, and I'm going to do Drifter for you. I'm on my own again. Never see the light of day again. And I'm trapped inside my head. I can't forgive myself. darker, darker than I did before. I slayed a deal, I sold my soul. I'm waiting for my time to go, and I'm on my own again, and never see the light of day again, and I'm trapped inside my head. I can't forgive myself, I'm drifting on, I'm all alone, I can't call home. All my enemies, I call my friends. I've saved my soul, now I wake up hollow. Now I can't help but to keep on hating me, and I'm on my own again. I never see the light of day again, when I'm trapped inside my head. I can't forgive myself, I'm drifting on. I'll keep running, burning bridges. I'll keep running from myself. I'm on my own again. I'll never see the light of day again, and I'm trapped inside my head. I can't forgive myself, I'm drifting on and on and on. Yeah.
Back to the podcast.
Moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
I had a question. Okay, so, well, the sound of Neverdawn now.
Yeah.
Can I say, is it thrash? I think I've seen American power metal, something like that.
That's what Immortal Coil called itself, was American power metal.
Okay, yeah.
Neverdawn in the Just Business phase was very much a Metallica Megadeth mix. There are songs on there that are really, really thrashy, and some songs that are not nearly as much.
Right.
So we've always had a difficult time really placing a genre or like a really specific subgenre on it.
Okay.
Like, I don't love calling it thrash because, I mean, we have thrash songs.
Yeah, but you're not like specifically a thrash.
We don't really play those all the time either. So there'll be shows where we don't play any of our thrash songs at all.
Right.
So it's, what I don't know what people are looking for in us to where we can reciprocate that. But I think I always tell when people ask me like, what do you guys play? I will give them like, we play like heavy metal, basically. But I mean, just as importantly, I guess for us is we really just play what we want.
Okay.
We don't really, we're not up there playing Slayer. We're not up there, but we're also not doing, Symphony of Destruction every day.
Right.
Well, yeah,
we have both, and we try to like sprinkle bits and pieces. Kind of like, honestly, if you look at Metallica now, like when they play now, they play like 12 songs or more, probably more. But they'll usually play just about one from every album.
Right.
So it's like they got the thrashy song in there. They got like they'll play like one, and then they'll play Enter Sandman with like completely different vibes and feels, but it's just how they gotta cover their entire discography or their entire career.
That's got to be hard for a band like that when you have like 30 to 40 years worth of material. That
you look at like them and
you
Maiden.
You
they
go
have
put
like
on
16
a show,
albums,
and it's like, man, how do we not piss off our fans? We
Right.
have to like. I
Let's
can only
play a little
imagine
bit
the
of
pressure
everything.
that goes into a set list like
Yeah.
that.
I think. Well, it seems like at least with them, they don't play too much from the time where I don't think I've seen anything of them playing any kind of Saint Anger song in the last like 10 years.
Yeah.
So, but no, yeah, we try to play a little bit of everything. It's just I try to just kind of put that general brand of heavy metal. It's
Okay.
just we play a little bit of thrashy where we get, the blood pumping a little bit. Then we have a lot more, I think, at least with Just Business, it was a lot more of playing from my heart, where it was just, if I'm angry, we're going to play faster and heavier. But if I'm like more, but you have a lot of melancholy type stuff too. So we try to, depending on how long we have, if we have like an hour or a headlining set or something, we'll start it off with a bunch of energy. We'll bring it down. We'll play the little more sad, melancholic stuff, and then we'll try to bring it back for the end of the show.
Yeah.
Now though, with this new stuff, it is that there are other influences coming into play now, which there's this German power metal band that is like probably my like number 2 or 3 favorite band of all time.
Is it Rammstein?
No.
Okay.
No. So not that they're bad or anything. I love Rammstein. But no, they're called Ordenogen, and they're like super power metal. They're like fast and heavy, and just it's nuts. But like I love it, and like so we're bringing a little bit of that influence into it. We're bringing a little more like Maiden into it, where it's just we're kind of like we've adjusted, to trying to be more melodic with our music instead of just me yelling.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So trying to bring a little more melody into it, and hopefully people can connect more to it.
So that brings in my next question. Following after since you described your sound, this isn't me talking trash on the whole genre of like metal or anything. Do you think to some certain degree can you be innovative with like that power metal sound? Or can you only just keep coming up with riffs that's within that realm of sound?
I've heard a lot of power metal bands that all sound very, what we call like, and by we, I mean like me and my family, like my dad, who really like, me and him, he's the one who raised me on like power metal and like everything European metal. I've heard a lot, over the years, I've heard a lot of bands that do share a lot of similarities with other bands as far as like even how they sound, how they play, all the songs, like the riffs even feel the same. And I think it's just, I don't want to discredit them and say that they couldn't come up with anything better.
Okay.
I think it was just, at the time, that was just it. I mean, you look at bands like in America in the 80s, like Crew, and the hair metal wave that we had, like Crew and Poison and Rat and Cinderella, like
Skid Row,
exactly. Like all of that kind of had a similar feel. So it's like Europe basically just had that, except it just was power metal. But I've heard lately more bands doing something a little different with it. Like I see the label of power metal still being put on it, but I don't know how much it applies, which is the same. Like I would almost say that with us. Like it's yes, like there are plenty of influences from some old school power metal and new school power metal, but I don't know how much that label applies to us. See, that's why I don't like labels all that much either, because like I'd rather just
do whatever the hell you
call
want.
It metal, and somebody listen to it and they decide, do I like it or not? Because some people, if I tell you like, hey, I got this band I want you to listen to, they're like really good power metal, and you're like, nah, dude, I don't really like power metal.
I don't listen to power metal.
Yeah, I'm not into power metal. Death metal only. I'm like, oh, well. But you could never know. Maybe it was like power metal, but they do like a death metal style.
I only listen to grindcore.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, also, like you said, good point. Genres kind of evolve over time, too, and they can become different things.
Yeah. I mean, and even with, because I've started drumming in a new band called Rumspringa, and they...
Shout out.
Yeah.
What's up,
guys? They have this 80s hair metal vibe to them, but they're doing... they have something, I feel... You can hear different influences that's not just, Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I can hear where that's like, oh, that's something, GNR would do. Or, oh, that's something, that's like... I mean, they literally cover Jimi Hendrix. So it's like, you can hear everything. So I think, with more time goes on, different influences start impacting different musicians who are in different bands that have this label of power metal, hair metal,
Yeah.
Whatever.
And it's always good to have a variety of influences too, because it's like, yes, you want your project to go in the direction that you want it to go to, but it's also, you don't want to get so far into those influences that you just end up recreating
As a
the
copycat
next,
almost.
Yeah, recreating the next
And that
Megadeth album or something.
That was my worry too for a while with Just Business. Is I got a lot of, you guys give me a lot of Megadeth, Metallica vibes, and it's like cool. That's great.
Yeah.
But when someone comes up and it's like, dude, you're like you are Dave Mustaine. It's like, oh well, I don't want to be him.
Yeah.
I'd rather him be him and me be me. But
does that ever give you inspiration to branch out to be your own kind of?
At first, I actually took it as a compliment, which is a mistake. You shouldn't. If you're trying to do something original, you shouldn't.
You think that restricts you from being original?
Yeah. When somebody tells you, "Hey, you sound just like James Hetfield," it's like, "Oh, cool." But what you should do then is not go forward and try to be that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't start,
Don't play
enunciating
off of that.
things
Yeah.
just like him and talking just like him and singing just like him. I think it gives you the vibe of what you naturally give. Hopefully you're naturally doing something yourself.
Yeah.
And people tell you, hey, this reminds me of this. Not, hey, you are this guy. Me and one of my friends went to a Nothing More show. And,
Great band, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Every time they're here, I have to go see them. They put on such a good live show.
I haven't had a
They're
chance to see them
band
yet,
you
but they're
can-
really cool. I've seen some studio sessions they've done, even acoustic stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so cool to see.
They're
how they
a
can turn
band
that.
with Johnny actually started on drums, I believe. And now he's singing, and he's just... I've never heard a voice like that.
No, super unique. Just the way, especially he does the vibrato stuff, and he manually does
he,
vibrato
you see
with his
him
voice.
move his Adam's apple or something.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Crazy. But anyway, I was at a Nothing More show, and I had a couple people come up to me and say I was a little Mustaine, I was like Dave Jr. And I was like, that's cool, and I got that you got that from the look, but it's one thing if somebody says I look like him because I can sort of see it sometimes, but then but it's a whole other thing if somebody sees a show or listens to the record and then tells me personally hey, you sound just like Dave Mustaine, or you are just being Dave Mustaine, or you're just a wannabe. Yeah, which is not the intention.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Which is why I think, but I think with the first record, it was just I was, like I said, I learned all my favorite songs. That's when I started playing guitar, and that just happened to be all Metallica, Megadeth songs.
Yeah,
and so that's what the album ended up being, was just a mix of Metallica and Megadeth songs. Or in the style of those two bands, and that's why the album ended up sounding more like that. But over the years, I've listened or learned more other styles and more ways of playing, and learning how to be a more melodic and more not just so much on the right hand. Yeah, not so much, not so chuggy.
It's just being yourself and just being able to put yourself
and so
out
I'm
there.
kind of just mixing everything that I've got and putting all that into something that I think sounds good. And so, because I don't, what the way we write is because we have a song right now that we're actually going to probably release it as a single, which is I think is funny because it's the oddball, quote unquote, of the record, because it doesn't quite fit. It's almost out of our genre. It doesn't fit with the album. The rest of the album, I'm not going to say it's super heavy or anything. There are parts of it that are a lot heavier, but this song that we have is very bright and very almost cheery.
Okay, so which is
which
if
is
anybody's
very
heard that,
out
very,
of the
it's
out
a
of the
departure.
ordinary. Yeah. So I always but the thing is when we wrote it, it's not does this fit? It's just, is it good?
Yeah, I mean
do
that's
like
what
it?
ultimately
Yeah,
matters.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I like it, you like it, he likes it. Why not do it?
Yeah, and especially it's got to be something fun for you guys to play on stage too.
Yeah.
I think that
it
a
is
lot of
fun.
people get caught up in the the theme kind of deal. Does this fit the theme of who we are? Or
it's a thing. Well, it is important to have a brand as a band. I mean, especially if you're trying to make it as a business. Every business has its brand.
Yeah.
And it's important to have that, but it's also important to be yourself.
Yeah, you have
And
to find
your
the sweet
brand
spot.
sometimes isn't always you. So your brand can evolve too. So if your brand is, we play Metallica stuff, or, it's all just yelling and no melody whatsoever. But if you come up with something melodic, if you like it, why not play it?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's just what we do.
I think you have to find the sweet spot as an artist between, maintaining the brand, as you mentioned, and not putting yourself in a box, because you don't want to trap yourself into we have to play this. This is the way we are.
I don't want to call them out or anything, because I love the band. But I don't know if you guys are fans of Volbeat or not.
Yeah,
I love Volbeat. I'll just put that out there.
I wouldn't categorize myself as a fan.
No, I
put
love
it that
them.
way.
So I love that band completely. I've been listening to them since the first album. Mm-hmm. But they, to their credit, they've done really well. But
they've definitely been commercially successful.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
And they're incredibly unique, and that is their brand. They're it's heavy metal Elvis.
They don't sound like anybody else. I will say that.
But if you listen to the first album and listen to the one they just now dropped, well, maybe not the one they just now dropped, but like the last one.
Yeah.
There's very little that has changed over the years, and they've been a band a long time. They've just and it's almost like Five Finger Death Punch as well. You listen to the beginning and you listen to now, it's it's more commercialized.
They were
in
a little
way.
more screamy, I think, at first. They did a lot more screaming.
It's
vocals.
commercialized in a way, but at the end of it, they've still been running. It's if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Mentality, which they have, which it's working for them. So.
Yeah, they're still
Props to
also
them
very
for it.
commercially successful.
And it's if you're into that, and because for them, they obviously enjoy making that kind of music. So why would they ever want to quit doing that? Which is great. But for us, especially because we're a band starting out, I like to evolve. My mind is very open to everything. I mean, even in the studio, we were recording songs that I thought were done. And then somebody brings up an idea, hey, what if we change this part and do this thing? And I will always say yes. I don't say we're going to keep that.
Yeah,
it's just,
but yes, let's try it.
Let's try it.
Exactly. I think trying things is always the best thing that can happen.
And
because
I always try almost everything. I'll always try anything, because you never know.
Yeah, I mean, some of the greatest songs
worst
ever.
Case scenario, didn't really like it. We go back to the same way it was.
Yeah,
and we
wasted
an hour.
Yeah,
So,
we talked to a band yesterday. Same topic got brought up of some of the best songs ever have been created by accident.
Yeah.
Or just it wasn't how they wrote it.
Yeah.
And then something got played a certain way or something, and bam, that stuck in the final recording, and that's why people remember that song.
Yeah, it happens, which is crazy. I mean, that's the magic of it, though. That's the magic of, 4 guys, however many, getting together and playing stuff. I mean, when we play covers and stuff, because we'll play a cover or two. It's usually just one cover per show.
Yeah.
Just, we like to throw something familiar out there.
You have to, I think, if you're not a big...
If people aren't coming there knowing every single song you're going to play.
Yes.
It
brings in... That's how you gain new fans sometimes.
It helps people who haven't heard you and don't know who you are. They get that familiarity that's they're playing... The Trooper or Seek and Destroy. It's I know that song.
Yeah, that's an easy way to draw people in.
Hopefully we do it well to where they're they did it really well, and then they'll listen to the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully we win them over from there. But
right.
I think we've always done a really good job of that. I think we pride ourselves in the ability to win rooms, which is what our fan base more or less has been built off of. Because I remember when we started, there was obviously nobody, and we were at a point too where not a whole lot of people came out, and even when we did play shows, not a whole lot of people. We had a couple of friends and obviously family members and stuff would come out, but I don't count them as fans.
Yeah,
because they're fans. They have to be.
Yeah, well, it's obviously you're appreciative of that. It means the world that they come out
great,
there.
But they're not fans.
I totally understand that.
So,
they're there for you, not for what you're doing.
Right. So they. But I've over the course of time, you've seen more and more people start coming to our shows, and what's great is it's not this. It's I see new faces every time we play, which is great. I love that.
Yeah.
it's not, it's not just that, because it's like those friends and family that were coming before, like eventually they stopped coming.
Yeah, I mean,
they've seen you probably 8 times. You playing more or less the same couple sets.
Yeah, you're going to burn them out eventually. No matter how much they love you, you're going to burn them out of playing the same stuff. Right?
Exactly. So when we start playing now and there's more people, I mean, we played with Bowaflex for their last show ever back in August, and there was like 1,000 people. That
I was going to say,
up.
what was that like?
That was insane. I loved it.
Were you nervous?
Yes and no. I always have that like pre-show, like I do a weird thing because I know like some people get really nervous and they will shake.
Yeah,
like they're nervous and like
I'm one of those people sometimes.
For me, it's a weird calm. Like it's a weird like I'm nervous and I know I am, but like it's just like I get extra chill.
Okay, so you're like so calm that it's like, oh, that's not him.
Yeah. Where like I'll go back in the green room and I'll just drink on water and then just like I'm just quiet, like deadly quiet, and I'm like just thinking through the show in my head, like don't like running through. It's almost like practicing a skit,
Yeah.
But I'm not even. It's not even always just the songs themselves. It's like, what am I going to say in between songs sometimes, or is there something particular that I have to touch on today that's different from any other day? And with that day, it was just there wasn't a whole lot of time to do that like pre-show ritual type thing.
Yeah.
It was all outside, and I was running the merch booth, which was like yards away from the stage. So when there's 900,000 people there, you're constantly getting talked to, and there's constantly interaction. So it was I just happened to like notice like, oh shit, the band before us is playing their last song. I need to get over there and start like warming up. And it was just no time. I like half changed into what I planned on wearing.
Yeah.
And so I went out there. I mean, we went out there, and the thing is, what's crazy and like the best and worst part of it is all over in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know, you guys have played like 30-minute sets, dude. Forget it. It feels
it's
like
nothing. Dude.
It feels like 5 minutes.
You almost kind of,
you blink and they're done.
Yeah, well, that and like you kind of go into like where you're almost not even thinking about it,
Oh,
and,
no.
It's like you spend weeks preparing for it too.
Yeah,
and it all
it's quick.
becomes muscle memory.
And then bringing stuff, kind of talking about the conclusion here with things, with Neverdawn as a whole, if you could kind of sum this up here, what is your, one, where can they find your music, and what do you want them to know about Neverdawn?
You can find our music anywhere: iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Or not Google Play, Google Music. We're on like every platform.
Okay.
So anywhere that you get your music from, Neverdawn is going to be on there. The Just Business album will be on there. You can stream it just about anywhere. Yeah. I don't think there's any exception. I think I like.
Yeah, you guys should be.
RJ and I did like go through and like check the boxes of like, is it on this? Is it on this? Is it on this? Which we did. Like, I'm pretty sure it was on everything. So, anywhere that you listen to music, you can find it. There is new stuff in the works. It is almost done, but I've been saying it's been almost done for probably 4 to 6 months now.
It's a very musician thing to do. I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think because back then it was like, yeah, we're almost done, and then we would get through something and it'd be like, oh wait, here's a new idea.
Yeah,
and then we go down that rabbit hole. But I think we're in the final stages of it now. It's close. We're gonna be Griffin and I just have a little bit of work to do on it. Where me and him got to get together on stuff, and then once that's done, I think expecting new music within even the next few months is not too unpredictable or unrealistic.
Gotcha.
So hopefully we can have some new stuff out soon. The new album is, I mean, it's going to be different. So people, I hope people don't expect the exact same thing.
Be ready.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for it. I'm really excited about it because it's
we're excited about it as well
because it's something we I like we said before. I'm in a different mindset than I was then. So now I'm in a much better place, or I'm more happier with where I'm at.
Yeah,
and the music reflects that. There are parts of it where it's more heavy and sad or angry still.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's just us, that's just what we do. But then, there's also songs that are very, we like to, RJ and I really made an effort to really try and be not inspiring, but we always joke that there's a couple songs in there that we would ride into battle to these songs.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of vibe we went with.
Well, if you're making hard music, I mean, that's the goal. It's is there going to be an action scene shot to this?
Right.
Or are people going to ride in on horses with fucking, crazy
tridents?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's absolutely the goal.
So, yeah. So we have a lot of fun with it. And that's the thing now is our goal was have fun with it. And the cost and the price at the end of the day, to me, it didn't matter. So we took our time with it because we could have done a thing where we just put an album out every year, but who knows how good those would have been.
No, it's priceless if you're doing it right.
Right. So we decided we're going to shell out the time and the money and the, all of the, whatever we got to do to make it done right.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
do it the way we want more than anything to be happy with it ourselves at the end of the day. So because with Just Business, there's stuff obviously that I would go back and fix, which I can talk about later. But with this, we did our damnedest to make sure every single person was happy with it.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Hopefully that reflects on everything else, and everybody can hear that. And hear the evolution of three brand new people that are in the band that have a part of it.
That makes all the difference.
So completely new mindsets and 3 new people, change the direction of things. So I think it'll be a good one.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Tristan, I appreciate you coming.
No, of course.
Recording with us tonight.
It's fun.
This has been an Enkindled podcast.
And we love you.
Love you.